We're having Michelle Mathison. I've known Michelle for over 3 years. I mean, time goes by. And she's always been very professional. She has lots of tools and tips to support students and juniors, in college who are really preparing for the labor force. And now more than ever, we have to be really competitive. So I'm so happy to have Michelle Mathison with us this morning, who's going to share with us some really great tips. And so it's going to be an engaging session. So please participate. It's really about you learning and developing as the next generation of leaders. And so without further ado, I want to welcome Michelle and thank her for being here today. Let's come off of our mute button and just give her applause and say thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Michelle.
Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you.
Right, the floor is
everybody.
yours, Michelle.
Thank you. So my name is Michelle, as Lishawn said, and I was telling her prior to the conversation is a lot of these workshops, it's really distinct and set to the people that are on the call. So in some ways, no two workshops are the same because the needs that everyone may have on this call will be different. So one of the first things that I just want to ask you before I actually tell you a little bit about me and why you should listen, because it's like, okay, LaShawn vouches for her, but why should I still listen? I'm just curious, like, you can put it in the chat or say it, but like, just from the people on the call, who feels like really clear about the work that they want to do? I know this is for public administration, but can you put in the chat, like, one, if you're super sure, like you are very clear of your career path, or two, if you feel like you're a little uncertain?
This is Beverly. I'm already certain. I'm sure that my career path is, in fact, human resources.
Okay. All right. I saw a few. So like LaShawn said, Professor, LaShawn, it's really important to participate because that's the only way it'll be interesting. So, okay, I do see some twos and some ones. So it's kind of in between. And then another question I have is, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being you don't know anything, 5 to being you could teach a class, how confident are you in securing a job that is a real match for your passions and interests as of right now? So 1 being, I have no idea. I will just probably do whatever I've been told, like go on Indeed or whatever. Or 5, like I'm really great at getting, positions that are matched for my passions and interests, from a 1 to 5. That will really help too. Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit of just how I got to this. So when I was 17 years old, my dad took me off allowance, and it may not seem like a big deal at the time to where when you hear it, but for me, it was major because it was almost the first time that I felt like I had to take care of myself financially. So it was a really crazy time. And back in the olden days, when you look in the paper for a job, I was looking in the paper, I asked my guidance counselor, just couldn't get a job. And it was getting like really hard because it made me not want to be around my friends because I just didn't have any money, so it was like I could eat and have clothes, but I couldn't do anything that I actually wanted to do. So I searched really long and hard for a job, and I couldn't find anything for a few months, and I kind of just started feeling bad about myself as a person. And as young as I was, feeling that way until one day I decided to walk from Utica and Avenue H. But my mind was, if I go to every single store, somebody has to hire me. That was like the aggressive me. I was like, someone, law of numbers. So I went to every store on Utica and Eastern Parkway. Nobody wanted me. And I got applications, but then like, no, you're in school, it can't work. So finally, I got to this store. It was called Associated, but it's Seatown now. And they said they would hire me. And I was just like, oh my God, my feet are hurting. It was hot. I was sweating. I was like, finally. Then they said, we'll train you for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, you get your official schedule and you get on the payroll. So, for those 2 weeks, I went every day after school. I did my best. I was there early. I left late. I was imagining my paycheck. Like, once I get my paycheck, I'm going to be buying this. I was so relieved to know from that point that my life would be set. It may not be the perfect job, but it would be something. And I felt really confident, clear about myself. And I'm like, man, to learn at such a young age, to hit the pavement, don't quit, keep going. I was sure it would change my life forever. So On the last day of the training, I walked in the door and they said they were no longer hiring. So I said, wait a minute. I just thought I learned this major life lesson that you got to hit the pavement, the equivalent of send out your resumes, all the stuff that you would hear, and it didn't work. And I remember at that point feeling like there's no lower place than I'm going to get than right now, because I knew at that moment I tried everything. And even as I say it now, I feel it. There's something every time I share this story because I remember it like it happened yesterday. That sinking feeling of what the hell am I going to do? So I go home and I'm crying. And when they told me that they were no longer hiring, I was so ashamed and embarrassed that I didn't even say anything. I just walked out. So I got home and I'm telling you, I had a supernatural moment, and a moment that changed my life forever from 17 to 38, such that I never hated my job in 20 years. I've never not gotten a raise I've ever gone for. I've never looked for a job more than 30 days ever in my life. And I've helped literally thousands of people get hired and get in positions that are a match for their passions and interests, not a cashier job that they don't really want, or a teaching job they don't want, or a cooking job that they don't want. The supernatural moment that I have and that I'm going to create in this space with everyone is something, I could say God, or however you want to believe it, said, what do you actually want to do? It's a very simple question. And when I heard this question, I was like, you know what? I really would just love to work in an office. That's what I want, like with one person. And I just get to like type stuff. Like that's all I would want to do. In a week, I got that job, and I had that job for like 5 years. And it was like, whoa. I was like, oh my God. And it was way much more money than I would have got at C-Town. So I kept doing that. I think because I realized every time I wanted to go higher in life, it was like, okay, what do I really want to do? And then what happened was people started saying, Michelle, you always have amazing jobs. The work that you do, I want what do you do? And I said, well, I usually just think about what I really want to do, and I just organize myself to do it. So people asked me so much, I started writing it down, because it was almost like, here, just take this, follow this path. So then it ended up becoming a career. I did career development for many years, job development, almost every facet of recruiting, development, getting people in jobs, helping them grow, transition. I've been in all those spaces, and I've been very successful at it because of this system that I'm going to teach you. So for those that actually are clear about what they want to do, like Beverly, and how to get a job, this will be useful because you can help the people around you, so you can develop the people around you. And for those that are not as sure, my intention is that you're 100% sure. So one thing that I want to create before we go into the workshop is this, and it's going to get more interactive from here, but there is a way to listen to this conversation. And I know typically we listen, I think we know how to listen, like the words are coming in, but there's actually different levels of listening. So I'm just curious, is anyone on this phone call, this Zoom, know how to sing? I would need to actually interact with you though, if you know how to sing.
Well, I do.
Okay, you do. Okay, totally fine. So you know how to sing. So I was in the choir, but I'm not a singer, right? But if I were to give you some tips on singing, you might listen to them, but it'd be different if it was, when Whitney Houston was live, right? You would listen to her very differently than you'd listen to me, because she's an expert, right? And if you can think about anything that you're interested, like say you do hair. If someone is kind of decent with hair, you may listen to them, but someone that's a master, you listen to them. I want to share that what we're going to talk about on this call is not ideas. It is not something that you should listen to, like, maybe I will give this a shot. I just really want you to know that this is a conversation that genuinely has the capacity to change your life and the people around you's life differently. This is not a conversation that you will have very often, because it's a conversation that is a turning point. Like how for me, I went from not knowing how to do something to 20 years of having something where I don't look forward to Friday. I look forward to Monday. That is a different quality of life. So the listening that you want to bring to the call is really different because it can truly make a difference. So just wanted to create the space for that with everyone, that get a volunteer. So maybe someone that I haven't heard from, because Beverly's clear, right? Someone that's like a one and not sure about what they really want to do. What I'm going to do in this call is actually work with one person and break down the steps with one person. So if there's someone that really wants to know forever how to get the job they actually want in 3 simple steps, and willing to kind of just work with me a bit, I'd love to get them on the line. What am I between 1, 2, and 3s?
I'm a 1.
Great. Okay, the team, are you ready?
Yes.
Listen, thank you first of all for just being willing, because this is not necessarily you're putting yourself on the spot, but it's really totally worth it. So the first thing I want to ask you, do you mind telling me how old you are?
I'm gonna be 25 on the 25th of this month.
Oh, okay. Are you looking for a job now?
Yes, because like I'm gonna get my bachelor's, so I want to just go straight to work.
Perfect. Okay, good. Because if you weren't, it needs to be real. So, all right. So I'm gonna ask you a question like I asked myself. And one of the things that everyone can do on the call while Fatim is just gonna be creating is just listen to her, right? One of the reasons that people don't get the job that they want is because they're not free to say what they want, or they don't feel that way. Most people are afraid to actually say what they want. They go for what is easy and what they think is accessible, like how I wanted a cashier job or any job like McDonald's or KFC. I didn't even know how to fix my lips to say I want to work in an office because I didn't even know how that would be possible. I saw no offices. We're going to get how I got real clarity to get that. But that's one of the biggest things, is that as a group, we really don't listen to each other. So Beverly, your job is to listen, right? People that are on the call that maybe have or also more clear is just actually creating a space where Fatim feels heard. Like, this is her moment. We're only gonna be on the call for an hour, right? Fatim is having like a sacred moment right now where she's gonna utter what she really wants. Most kids only say that for about a good 6, 7 years. What do you want to be? I want to be a fireman, and we encourage it. But after a certain point, it's like, But they say it because we listen. When they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? They feel like that's their moment. So I want to make sure Fatim is going to have that moment, and it's based on how we listen to her. So Fatim, I'm going to ask you, what is the essence of the work that you actually want to be doing right now?
I can give you like an idea of what I really want to do, because I'm like really uncertain.
So this is what I'll tell you. And this is the workshop, right? But we're going to break it up. You are clear. You haven't been heard. And there'll be many times that I will possibly interrupt you, right? And I'll tell you, this is your job search. The 10 minutes that we may do this part, you may get frustrated. So, just like how you can get frustrated sending out applications. But you're better off getting frustrated for 20 minutes, because the amount of people that I work with that have been searching for jobs 6, 7 months, and in a week they get a job. In 24 hours, they've gotten a job that they've stayed at in 48 hours. So this is well worth the time. But I'll tell you, you could get a little bit frustrated, because I will stop you just so that when someone comes to you, and maybe it could be someone you're working with or whatever, and they're telling you they don't know, or they're usually going to tell you every reason why they can't get the job or what's not working. You want to just cut to, what do you want? Because we know what we want. No one that I've ever talked to doesn't know. I have been in this conversation for 15 years. There is not a person that doesn't know what they actually want to do right now. I'm not saying in life. You may not know your purpose and your legacy and your destiny, but today you actually know what that thing is, right? So, Fatim, I'm going to ask you again, what's the essence of the work that you actually want to be doing right now?
I have no idea. I honestly don't. I don't know what I want to do.
What is coming to you right now? Okay, so hold on. So Can I ask you, Fatima, are you thinking in your head or in your heart?
I'm thinking with my head.
Get out of your head. Your head's not going to help you figure this out. In my head, I thought walking 5 miles would help. It's not. It's never in our head. So try to because when you're thinking in your head, you kind of like, well, you can almost see it. You're like looking in your head. And in your head, you have a lot of, probably, not just for team, she's just helping us all out. In our head, we have a lot of agreement and justification of why we can't get stuff. So the head is the head is where we thrive, we take our showers, we do the things that require no real thinking. But your passions and interests is definitely going to be in your heart. The execution of it will come in your head, but the inspiration of it. And I'll tell you why we want to get in our heart. When people hire you, yes, skill matters. But when you have two people with the same skills, the passion is going to be out the person. It's going to be the connection. You know how many hiring managers would say to me, she's great, but for some reason, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. There's just something not there all the time because they're not connected. They're not feeling. So I'm all about technical stuff and order and structure, but you got to connect, right? And that's why people will have job interviews, be qualified and not get the job, because the hiring managers, the stuff they will not tell you will be like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. She's great, paper, but I don't know. Something just didn't click. So, maybe you close your eyes, right? So, Fatima, I'm actually again, and this is good. I'm happy that you're not clear. You're like the perfect person to work with. What's the essence of the work that you actually want to be doing right now?
I want to help children.
Perfect. Now, in certain instances, you may not want to work right now, and we'll get to that. There are times where people actually don't want to work. I don't think that's you, but and if it was, there's ways to combat that as well, and we'll get to that. But that definitely resonated, for sure. And when it resonates or it doesn't. Do you get what I'm saying, Lishawn? Like, it resonates as far as it's clear, right? So can you say?
I think that's so true what you're saying, the passion. It's like what wakes you up every day, right? I love and I'm passionate at supporting nonprofits and for-profits with governance and management. And that's what I think about all the time, right? So every time you hear me speak, I'm talking about strategic planning. What can we do? Let's set goals, right? I think that's so clear. It's really, but it's not usually what people think about, right? Because you're just thinking about getting a job. Your example is so true.
Like myself, 17, getting a job. And listen, the reason why that's also very hard is mostly everyone's about getting a job because they just want money. And I can tell you as a recruiter, and it's someone that literally has interviewed, like I said, thousands and thousands of people. It's just not enough. Everyone wants a job. So, everybody just wants money. And when that's usually the thing, the hiring manager knows that and is not going to hire you. And then I'm there, the recruiter, trying to convince. I can't even convince them because they know what it is. So you said you want to help children. Good. So for everyone that's listening, you want to be able to, if someone comes to you and say, I'm looking for a job, you can ask them, well, what's the essence of the work that they want to do? They probably say, I don't know. I've been looking on Indeed. They're going to tell you everything they're doing and what's not working. Just stop them, because you're only going to encourage them to have agreement with that. Who cares what's not working? Let's just focus on what you want. Let's get to that. That's why I said people I work with is not long. 30 days max. And if it's more than 30 days, they don't want to work. Usually it's 7 days. In 7 days, they are working. It's never that long, right? Because people usually just want to talk about what the problem. So you said you want to help kids. Very rarely have I heard things that clear that quick. But I want to ask you again, because it resonated. What's the essence of the work that you actually want to be doing?
I want to help kids who are abused, like kids who are like going through traumatic stuff.
The kids that's abused that need you in the meanwhile. And not to bring it down, but I was on a call this week and we have can you guys hear me? You hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. No, I said my connection was unstable. We had a call this week, and where I work, we have a Center for Family Support, which is foster care prevention, and we dedicated the director over it dedicated the call to one of the kids that unfortunately was killed at the hands of their mother because it was not handled correctly, the ACS. And as I say that, that child kids need people that want to help abuse kids. Not everybody want to do that job. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody wants to do that. For some people, that's too much. And this is a big part for me, why I do this is because the right people need to be in the right positions to help the people that really need it. And you have teachers that are singing and singers that are teaching, and people that are helping abuse kids that should actually be cleaning, and people that are cleaning are helping kids that are being abused. Lishawn should be helping people strategically plan. That's what she does. You know what I'm saying? She has helped our organization in ways that that's her gift. So you being able to articulate that you want to help kids that are abused, stay there. I'm doing a kind of an abbreviated version. I mean, I could literally have a separate conversation with you to go a little bit deeper, but I'm very moved by that. But I want to make sure that I still move through the steps because some parts get a bit more technical. Not crazy, but I want to make sure okay, now that I feel connected, what do I actually do? Because a lot of times people will be like, oh, go for it and don't stop. And I'm like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? What do you mean go for it? I want to know exactly what do I do now that I know? Because you can know and still not get the job. And then now it's just almost frustrating, right? So once you share to clear, and sharing to clear. You came on the call at 10 o'clock saying you didn't know what you want, and it's 10:37 and you're clear. Right?
Yeah.
Not a So you are clear. And again, when anyone tells you they don't know what they want to do right now, it's not true. Everyone, if on this planet, has a reason to be here, whether you're spiritual or not. Everything has a purpose, and people know, and people think, well, I don't. So just remember that in this moment with Fatima, when she was saying, I really don't know. They know. Okay, so say that's the essence of the word you want to do. You share to clear. Getting clear is not being in our heads. Or being in our room, setting them up to listen, like I told you. So when I teach people how to share to clear, I tell them to call someone and say, listen, can you keep asking me the question, what's the essence of the work that I actually want to do? And don't give me feedback. Okay. That's all you want to do. Step one, share to clear. You will know that you are clear because you will actually feel it. It will be connected and it will resonate in a way that, you see how I didn't take you a lot of words? It's not fluffy. It's very short and to the point. I want to help children that are abused. Clear. You have another piece to it. Because some of what I do is intuitive. I'm very much like a matchmaker in the sense of I have a sixth sense, like how matchmakers have an eye for chemistry. I have an ear for passion. My sense is, even with that, there's another element to it. But as I said, I would love to talk to you more one-on-one, but for the sake of the time, I just want to make sure I get through it. But I feel like, so this conversation is a fine tuning. What I say to people is, even if you need to do this for 2 days, do it. Don't send out your resume yet. Just get clear first. So I said, this was your job search, and now you're clear about your job. Step 2 is getting things in order. This is one of the most important steps of this, because everybody has either had or has a messy closet, correct? Can you just put correct if you've ever had or have a messy closet? There was actually this posting for this job that I pass every day, and I never even saw it. But all of a sudden, I saw it. So what getting things in order looks like, right? And this is where you can, for the people that want to feel like, this is what I need to do, I can write it down. You need to make a list of all the things that you need to do, that you can do, and know to do, and are not doing, right? So I wanted to explain what that means. It's not, for example, if you are about to go, you're ready for, let's use you, right, Fatim? Let's say, Lishawn works with me at Sesame, and you were supposed to send her a resume that's based on abused children, and you just haven't done it. I'm not saying take a course because you want to take a course. That might be you took a course and just never completed it. The things that are incomplete that you can't complete and you need to complete and you're not doing, you need to do those things and at minimum schedule them, because it's actually taking up space. Balance is an experience. That is not something that you can say. Now you could try to describe it like, well, like this, describing to like a 5-year-old what balance is. You're going to get on the bike, and then all of a sudden at a certain point, it's going to just feel right. I mean, feel right. I think I'm going to fall. No, but you got to keep pedaling, because once you keep pedaling, you're going to just be good to go. Kids can't get balance because that's an experience, right? What I'm sharing to you will be an experience. There's nothing that I'm going to tell you that's going to make it be like, oh yeah, that's going to make sense. This is where you actually just have to trust that person that's holding the end of the seat, that they're going to let go, and you're going to find balance. Making this list and doing the things that you need to do, that you can do and you should do and you haven't been doing, will create a certain trickle effect that you will not believe is happening. And you want to look at it like this. If you're passionate about something and there's things that you need to do and you're not doing it, why do you think anything else would work? The things that you're not even passionate about, why would that work? The things that's going to work is the things you're actually interested in and taking action on. That's life. That's why I said this is not a regular conversation. These are life principles. You can apply these principles to anything. You can apply it to finding a mate, getting clear about what you want, getting things in order, and then getting to the next step. I'm going to tell you, it's all the same. That's why this is a lifelong, I believe my book is a lifelong treasure that you can use for literally the rest of your life, because it applies to everything. So of course we always know what we want to do, and we always know what we're not doing. We're just not doing them. That's usually what it is. And that's usually what's in the way. It's not the job market. It's not a recession. It's not the pandemic. It's you. You're in your own way. We are always in our own way. I was in my way at 17. And if you're not in your way, the gift of this conversation is you are able now to get people out of their own way and getting them doing the work that they were meant to do. The reason that they are on this planet, the reason that they're not just here to wake up and take up space. People have a reason for just being here, to have life. People's joy to me comes out of accomplishing the things that really matter to them most. And most times people experience that through work, not work where you are just doing it for a check, work that actually fulfills you and sustains you and makes you feel happy about who you are as a person. Last step, because there's only 3 steps. The last step, once you start doing what you're supposed to do, schedule it and do it, is sharing to solve. So the first thing was sharing to clear. The second thing was getting things in order. And the last step is sharing to solve. And what I mean by sharing to solve, most people share to complain or share to further cement that they can't get what they want. So when you're telling people now, Fatim, that you want to help kids that are abused, and maybe some other part, like I said, I feel like you may have one more piece to it, but you want to share with people, do you know of anything? That's the conversation. It's not sharing like, I'm looking for a job, having a hard time. You know of anything? You could say it like that, but you want to be really straight, like so they can contribute. You got to ask the question. Now, most people actually don't even ask the question. They just tell you they're looking for work. They say, what's going on? Well, yeah, I'm looking for work these days, just kind of been on Indeed and stuff. You start telling people, Fatim, I am looking for a job where I can help children and maybe express myself artistically and stuff like that. Most people do not speak that clearly. So when you tell them, you are actually activating the reticular activating system for them. And they don't even have a choice to start noticing what jobs are available to you. That's another reason why this works fast, is because when you start sharing in that way, you have other people looking for work for you. You can still, that's why I said you can still go on Indeed and do all that. I'm not saying don't do that, but most people find jobs from people that they know. And I'm not saying you can't find a job, but statistically, most people actually get a job within someone in their network anyway. So go on Craigslist, wherever you want to go. But that's the odds are in your favor. But you want to share it in a way that is clear, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you have no idea. I mentioned it to my mother and then she went to work and then someone told her about this job. It's like all of a sudden, it was because she was clear. And her mother's reticular activating system was tuned into, my daughter needs X, Y, and Z. Super clear. Anything that came up, it's like when you saw white and then when you saw blue and then when you saw yellow. You're going to, because this is the secret. Your job's already available. Okay. Everything that exists is already here. All the materials and the supplies and the thoughts, it's already here. It's cleaning out your closet, getting clear, and talking about it. So it's already here. It's a matter of you being able to like see it, to say, I don't know what I want. Yes, you do. I know what something needs to do. Yes, you do. You haven't told anybody. And it's like, oh, job. So that's why this can happen like that. So that's the third step. And the bonus step is, whether or not you do this bonus step, it will still work, but I always share it because this is, to me, the elixir of the universe, and what makes it move fast is gratitude. Now, it can sound really simple to be gratitude, but I will just tell you, anytime you think about work and money, for that matter, because that's a separate piece, then maybe it's another series, because I would love to talk about that a little bit. But when it comes to work, anytime you think about the job that you want, just say thank you. And if that is too hard to remember, you can put an alarm like 3 times in the day to just remember to be thankful for the job that's coming, or put an alarm on your phone to write down every day what you're thankful for when it comes to work. Everything that I said works, but that speeds things in a way that is quite remarkable. Oh, thank you guys.
I thought this was a really great session, Michelle. There's so many takeaways, the levels of listening, right? So we have to really be in tune to, what it is that we want to do, and be clear, and once we're clear, then, we need to get our room in order, right? Clear everything up, right? All the things that really don't matter, that we kind of think about all the time, right? And then we start sharing that information, right? Letting people know this is what we are looking for, because now we're clear, right? And then gratitude. And so that piece is just so profound, being thankful, because even when you go on an interview, people who, send a thank you letter, they're looked at more positively, right? You're more likely to get the job opportunity if you have a thank you letter than if you don't, right? Because for them, it's like you took the time out to meet them, and they're grateful for that time. I know, when we were hiring several, staff members, we would get some really beautiful thank you notes. And those were people that we liked at the interview, and they were passionate, and those were the people that we hired, so it was always great to get those things. So, as Michelle mentioned today, it's really just life changing. And I really think this conversation was merited and worth having today. I know, we are at time, but if you guys have any questions, Michelle is an expert. She's here, she's available. And I don't know if there's anyone else that want to say something, but getting the right people in the right position. When you said that, that was just so profound, because, I did some academic advising years ago, and I would always have students that were in a family of doctors or a family of nurses, but they didn't want to do that. That was not their passion, right? And so I'd always, emphasize that, if you're doing a job or a career for the paycheck and you're not going to be happy, there are good and bad things in every job. You don't want to be a doctor that's like forcing down medicine, off of patients who are really, looking for comfort and someone who really cares, right? So it's about finding the right people for the right position, and every employer is looking for that. And then I think as the employee, you should be looking for that too. So, it's got to be a fit for both, right? So I thought that was really profound.
Correct. A lot I could say on that too, but for sure, yeah, you're interviewing the employer as well. I mean, that goes without saying, but yeah, I'm happy you said it because it is definitely a two-way street.
Yeah.
And thank you for the comments that I'm seeing in the chat that it was needed and the process was helpful. So just knowing that it was valuable means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you all.